Alrighty, are we live? Awesome. Got my cat Bubby here. I'm going to try some interesting things. So, welcome to the stream. I'm sure there'll once again not really be too many people showing up live, but we're still going to run with it and see what we can't do. Title of today's stream is It's Amazing How Productive Doing Nothing Can Be. And at least a similar theme for what I'm going to do with these streams. I was a pretty big movie guy, as you can see behind me are some of my two all-time favorite movies and some of the biggest inspirations to my personality and who I've become as a man. So a big one for me was Tron Legacy. Oddly enough, again, similar to the first stream, it's another movie that critically and a lot of people didn't necessarily care for, but I found to be excuse me. Should have grabbed some water before this. I found it to be extremely insightful, and there was a lot that resonated with me, especially someone who doesn't quite have the same level of father abandonment type issues as that movie, but could definitely empathize with a lot of what the person's feeling. If you haven't seen it, it's the continuation of the movie Tron, which was apparently I've still not seen. I saw Tron Legacy. I've seen the second, still haven't seen the first, and we're still waiting on obviously a third now, like 11 years later or 10 years later. So I swear I'm going to get this thing out of my throat. I figured what I would do is this time kind of play a little bit of the clip using my phone, get the audio in there, and then kind of break down how I think it relates to what's going on in the current day. So hang on a second. Let me see if I can cue this up and have you guys see it.
So what do? Nothing. It's amazing how productive doing nothing can be. Clue is planning something. We've known that for a while. Programs have been disappearing. There's unrest out there, even a revolution. If we sit tight, Clue might be brought down from the inside.
The portal's closed and we can't just sit around. We have to move now.
Tell me, what brought you here to the grid?
Alan got your page.
I didn't send anything. It was Clue.
See, and this is kind of where I got to give a little bit of commentary. I want to make sure I avoid any copyright. But the idea is that, he's thinking that his dad wanted to see him after all this time. That his dad had reached out to him, that he was going to finally make things right, and finally talk to him and let him know what's been going on. Wasn't the case.
Clue sent that page. That's why you're here. This is all his design. He wanted a new piece on the board to change the game. With you, he got more than he ever dreamed. This is precisely what he wants, us together heading for the portal. It's his game now. The only way to win is not to play.
Well, that's a hell of a way to live.
But it is a way.
And that's something that it's so funny. Because when I first saw the movie, I was totally with Sam. I was thinking, how the hell could you not take action? Go! Like, the portal's closing. Like, there is urgency, right? And again, there's a certain wisdom that comes with age. And that's what Jeff Bridges' character has. He is saying how there is a level of productivity. There's something to be said for doing nothing, for having a level of neutrality and lack of action, especially when it's somebody else's game. And so if somebody else is rigging the game, how do you win a game that's rigged against you? How do you beat the house? If you're going against like in a casino, how do you beat the house? You don't play their game. You'll lose every time if you try to bet against the house, because it's their game. And the only way you win, don't play, don't gamble. And that's something that you don't realize in the heat of youth, with all the passion, with all the energy that's flowing through you as a youthful person, whether it's a young man, young woman, whatever. You're not thinking long term. You think that action is the only way to achieve results. But as he's talking about there, and I don't remember exactly if I put it there in the clip or not, but what he's talking about is there's like talk of insurrection, programs disappearing. Like he might be brought down from the inside. All they need to do is wait just a little bit, and maybe they'll be able to ride it out and it could come to a different result. And I think with everything going on right now, there's obviously been unrest. I make it a point to kind of stay away from current events because that's just a mess. But obviously, through distillation and through the grapevine, I eventually end up hearing about different things. And of course, there's a lot of people right now who are like Sam. They're thinking, we got to take action. It's time to go. The portal's closing. We only have so long. Go, 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 go. Freaking out. And it's like, no, no. You'd be amazed how productive doing nothing can be. And there's so many people these days that love being busy bees, just moving all around, going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And they never once take the time to think about what they're doing. And that's where the productivity of nothing comes in, because as much as that is an important message, it's like most things in Hollywood movies, a double-edged sword. What you have somebody who's saying that it's okay to do nothing because it is productive. And while that can be true, more often than not, it's not the case. It's not the way people utilize it. People aren't doing things. They aren't being and doing nothing productively. They're doing nothing just for the sake of doing nothing. And that's not okay. That's not what we want to do. We want to be able to make sure that if there is a situation where there's a game that's clearly rigged, what do? You don't play. You do nothing about it. And sooner or later, it'll have to come down from the inside. And that's exactly what you see with this. So, that was kind of an insight that I had. I hope one day I can get some people in on this stream. It'd be really nice to have some back and forth, some different banter, maybe even get some people in on the action, maybe send out a phone number so that way they can call. And because I love talking to people as much as I love kind of doing this, trying to do this live stream, talking to just the screen. I do want to be able to have a level of interaction and interactivity with these things. So if you are happening to watch this after the fact, I'm going to try to be doing this. I think every other night is going to be easier for me to do. So that'd be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I could probably do that. So as I'm kind of doing this on the fly, and I'm just going to riff for a bit longer, kind of talking about Tron Legacy, and it's very interesting. It was interesting to see Jeff Bridges, who is the dude, and a very similar kind of getup as the dude, talking around. There's some other symbolism that you see. He's barefoot. He's kind of meditating. He's very connected spiritually, despite being in a completely artificial world, one that he created. And so he is basically trying to get in touch with his inner self. A lot of his books, Dostoevsky, I want to say. There's a couple other philosopher ones that the Olivia Wilde character mentions and talks about. It's pretty epic to kind of see this character years on and how he's talking about these things. And I do think it is a very important message, but it is kind of wrapped up in a semi-toxic package as usual, because doing nothing, while it can be productive at times and is necessary, as it says in Ecclesiastes or Lamentations, I forget which exact book of the Bible, there is a time for doing nothing and a time for action. But the key is the discernment to know which time is which. And I think a lot of people right now that might be thinking, we're on the precipice of a time of action, would do best and be best served actually taking a step back, making sure that they understand that maybe now is the time to do nothing and kind of watch, wait, listen, and understand what's going to be coming next, because these things aren't clear cut. They're not just black and white a lot of times. It's sticky. These situations, it's hard to say. And like he says, it's exactly sometimes what the quote unquote evil forces, it's what the bad guy, it's what the antagonist, Satan, whatever you want to call it, it's what they want. Sometimes thinking that, but we have to save so and so, we have to do this. Well, doing that plays directly into their hands. And if you've seen the movie, you understand that that is very much the case. But again, just like in the movie and just like in real life, the forces of good will always find a way. Sometimes it's done at no sacrifice to anybody, but it often comes at a level of a great sacrifice. And without spoiling anything, there is a level of sacrifice that's involved in the ending, and it's very emotional. Um, and again, that's one that really resonates with me because it's a father who's willing to sacrifice for his son, and not in the way that we think, not in the way of putting in long hours at the office, not in the way of doing things that people don't necessarily want to do. It's the ultimate sacrifice. And I think that's emblematic and very thematic in all different types of religions, as well as just everyday stories. So I think, it's going to wrap it up for me. It's After Work Network here, streaming live again. I'll put this stream up on YouTube. Thank you so much, YouTube, for hosting. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope this little bit of insight helps you along. Thank you so much. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.